Okay, we are back, and we're talking about Backlash, the good and the bad. I tried to think of how we would format the good and the bad in the traditional sense that we usually do, but it would have been really weird and lopsided, and it would have been a stretch. So how we're going to do this is we're going to talk about the good and the bad per match.
Okay.
And we're just going to do it in that fashion.
I'm going to give this a thumbs up. Full thumbs up for the show.
For the show?
For the show itself.
I agree with you.
The matches were decent. They weren't like 5-star classics or whatever the case may be, but it was just a show. It was just there.
I enjoyed it. I got my money's worth out of it.
Yes.
With the 4-way, it was a really good way to start off the show. The fact that they brought in Jeff Cobb in this show was good. How they did it was really good too, and people reacted well.
I loved how confused Jacob Fatu looked.
Mm-hmm.
He played his character well. It was the first time where he's like,
it's like, is Solo going to try to possibly form a new bloodline with others?
Is he trying to appease Jacob Fatu or something?
Or is Jeff Cobb the replacement for him in a new bloodline-esque faction for Solo?
Jacob Fatu is so confused, and I just love that. Jacob Fatu accidentally won. He did. This is the way that it happened.
Jacob Fatu is awesome. He's very good at his stuff. The issue now,
Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre were just doing their own thing.
They were. They just really sort of were off there. If you separated out this match, I think we probably would have actually had a stronger
2 separate matches.
Mm-hmm. That's the other thing about WWE pay-per-views. We need more matches.
Not necessarily.
No. I think there's just way too much absolute nothing filler. You can do sponsors without having some bullshit. I'm sorry. You can. They're just being lazy about it. Have a couple of more matches, do the sponsorships there, and call it a fucking day.
Yeah.
I think 6 to 7 is a nice sweet spot as it relates to that. You give each match plenty of time to work with, and you get a good show.
Yeah.
5 is just there are more matches for Raw and SmackDown than there are for goddamn pay-per-views.
Right. Give each match 30 minutes, a 30-minute block, and that would be perfect.
If they're going to do that, but then you're going to start dragging matches out that were completely unnecessary.
I mean including entrances, sponsorships, each match 30-minute block. Then that would be 6 matches over a 3-hour show. Yeah,
but that would be 6 matches. That would still prove my point correct.
Yes, it would. Yes.
Yep. In a 3-hour show format, 6 matches, if you're going to do it in the pay-per-view, is there.
Yeah.
Now, you can pull off less matches, but with segments on a regular show.
Yeah.
You can do that.
Yep.
And we see that.
Mm-hmm.
But, you see 10 segments and 7 of them are matches for Raw, and it's the same time, and there are commercials in there.
Right.
How do you do that? How do you manage that?
Wow.
Speaking of a match that had way too much time, I'm sorry. I liked the match, but it probably could have ended 5 minutes earlier, and I would have had a better match.
I think so, too. They're really trying their damnedest to put Lyra over, and this is the rivalry to put her over in. This is good.
Way too many finisher kickouts.
Yep.
Way too many of them.
But, yeah, it could have gone a little bit shorter, and I would have probably had a better experience. Also, the ending, I don't know what happened. That was just odd.
I mean, I don't know if Becky just knocked Lyra into a loop, but man, she got clocked right in between the eyes.
Yeah.
And she was just trying to get depth perception back. It was very strange. I don't know if Becky just got too excited or it was just a slip. It happens.
Yep. But that's what happens when you have a long match.
Yeah, you have more of a chance of that happening. Mm-hmm. It was just very strange. And Becky Lynch hit 5 manhandle slams and still couldn't win.
Well, that's
her finisher.
Yeah.
She's won titles off of that move.
Yeah.
She beat Bianca Belair in seconds at the WrestleMania with that move.
Yeah.
What? It's so weird. I don't understand why they did this. It was so bizarre. It was the only women's match, and they do have good chemistry. We've seen them have good matches.
Yep.
And I'm not saying the match was bad. It was just too long.
Yep.
That's the problem. This match shouldn't have been here at all.
Yeah, there are way too many interferences in this match.
Way too many interferences. With Judgment Day, I get. Yep. It's fine. But why are we continuing Penta with El Grande Americano?
I guess Chad Gable wasn't available, so they had to go with him instead.
No, the problem is that El Grande Americana was created because of Rey.
Yes, true.
Why are we still going after Penta and Rey Fenix? Why aren't we going after the other members of LWO? You do realize those people still exist, right? Penta's not even a member of that group, thank God, but might as well be. You see, that's the problem. Also, Dominik is fantastic.
Oh yeah,
he is really coming.
He is turning quickly into a babyface.
He's quickly turning into one of my favorite things on Raw. Yeah. Every week, I'm like, Dominik Mysterio's great. He's great. He's really starting to get the hang. The thing with Dominik is that people had a certain expectation of what his style was going to be, and the problem was he was trying to appease that expectation, but he's too lanky to be Mysterio.
Right.
Now, the frog splash, something anybody can do. I like that as a finisher for him. And he can do the 619 really well.
Yep.
And he can do some lucha stuff really well, but he can't do all of it.
Right.
So he kind of has a decent little mesh of what works for him with his body type. So I think it really is helping out.
It was one of his best performances.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Finally, starting to, once again, coming into his own. Just pull the trigger on Balor turning on Dom.
Yeah.
I think we have he's really strong right now. You have strike when the iron is hot. I'm worried that they're going to wait too long for that to cool down. I think it's probably
going to be a SummerSlam.
You really think so? You really think they're going to wait to SummerSlam? That's in a couple of months.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. It's already mid-May, you know.
I don't know. I hope you understand where I'm coming from and my worry regarding that.
Oh yeah.
This was better than it had any right to be.
Oh yeah, that's what I 100% agree with you on this. Gunther just kind of doing his own thing now. He kind of has that big match feel attached to him now. So, but Pat McAfee, my God, that had no right to be as good as it was.
He took like what any other wrestler would. I think he's like, I want to be hit, and man, Gunther really obliged on that. Did it drag a little bit? I can understand that.
Did.
But at the same time, the ending was exactly what it needed to be with the sleeper.
Yeah.
The Cole involvement was a little much, personally. I think maybe a little bit less of him, it would have been more impactful because he got in the ring like 2 times. And just once would have been perfectly sufficient.
Yeah.
But
I don't understand this whole rivalry, but hey.
I mean, if it's over, it's over.
Yeah. Pat McAfee, of course, is over. Like,
then what are we going to do? I mean, McAfee is fine where he is, but Gunther is a per night competitor. Yep. So what are we going to do with him from here?
Big match, Gunther.
but with who now? Who are you going to do it with? I mean,
I don't know.
I mean, he's really just world champion. He's not going to go for the Intercontinental again.
No,
I feel like that would be a mistake. They sort of fucked that up because they did have that rivalry with Dominik for a minute.
Yeah.
You could do it with Penta, I guess, but Penta is with Grande.
Yeah, no.
I just can't think of anybody else.
Yeah.
That's the problem. It's like they had this cool, but at the same time, what else?
Right.
You know?
And I think what they're doing is they're getting ready for Gunther and Goldberg. Because Goldberg is coming back.
That's true.
That is going to be a SummerSlam thing. I would imagine that whole bit's probably going to start in Saudi Arabia and just go throughout this summer until...
Night of Champions is... When is Night of Champions?
The June something.
Okay.
End of June. So maybe...
You could do something with Saudi Arabia and Gunther.
Don't know what, but...
Saudi Arabia and Gunther. You could do something with Goldberg and Gunther at Saudi Arabia because... That generally is when they like to use Goldberg. And if Goldberg is like, I want to do one more match, I think that would actually be a good match. It would give Goldberg time to prepare. It would give them enough time to sort of figure out what they're going to do based on Goldberg's limitations. So I think that would actually be the best idea at this point. John Cena and Randy Orton, I don't know. Like, Cena's promos are awesome as a heel. But... The ref bumps.
Oh, yeah, there were way too many of those.
The RKOs on everybody.
Yep. There was a lot going on that wasn't really... That was the issue I think I've had with this entire pay-per-view. I mean, this kind of sums it up. I think every single match in some capacity had some sort of interference. I can't think of one that maybe
Becky
Becky
and Lyra didn't.
Every other one did though. Every single other one had interferences of some sort.
Now it looks like John Cena is going to do something with Truth.
Yep,
I think that'd be cool.
Yep, they were looking for a non-title.
There were interferences. There were not.
You're absolutely right. Every single match had interferences in it besides the women's match. And that's just too much, I think, for especially for someone who might be paying a premium to see the pay-per-view,
right?
But I mean, that kind of sums it up for me. There was just too much of it, and I was just like, okay, let's just stop this.
And the thing is, as well, that I was not a fan of is that the coolest part of what happened with this match happened after the match. And that was when John Cena left the ring, he almost looked like he was doubting himself on being a heel. And I'm like, if they sort of had this weird, like, John Cena is like second guessing himself on his decision, if they did that during the match, it would have been more impactful.
Yeah.
And also just way too many not interferences, but too many outside people.
It was very much an overproduced production.
It almost became a mess. Almost. Yeah. Now, it was structured well, and these two just have a great chemistry about them. It was a big fight field.
It was.
It was. The Rock has to be involved. I don't know why that it bothered me at Mania.
Yeah.
It bothers me here. The Rock was the big antithesis, the big grinder about Cena's heel turn.
Yeah.
And him just not having anything is bothering me. I'm going to trust them about this long-term thing.
Yep.
But something. Just like music or, The Rock has like another little posse, you know, or something else.
Right.
You didn't need Travis Scott. Thank God he wasn't there. But that was sort of what was missing for me, and that was missing at Mania too.
Yeah.
To a lesser extent, because at the very least, you had the Travis Scott thing. But here, that's just sort of where I am.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I mean, it's kind of being left up to John Cena's own devices to his development. Maybe that was the intention.
Maybe him questioning himself, it's because you don't have The Rock in his ear.
Right.
Maybe they were doing that, but maybe that done in the match would have been better.
And who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not sitting on the wall in the boardroom.
Exactly.
So, but that's all I've got.
That's it.
Like I said, it was a decent show. Way too many interferences for my liking, but the matches themselves,
they were done well. Yeah, full thumbs up. So, there is a match that I'm trying to find. It is from a wrestler named Cheeks. Cheex. He wrestled one match in a TNA weekly pay-per-view. It was the second one. He's like this enormous fat guy. And I was trying to find that because he broke the ring during a dark match, and they had to scramble trying to figure out what they were going to do. So the ring was broken. But if anybody can find that, let me know, because I searched up everything. But if you guys enjoy this, remember to like, follow, subscribe, peanut gallery.
And I think next week is Battleground? Is that next week?
Hold off on that. So, and as always, be
majestic.